What is going on, guys? Welcome to Test This Tech. And I want to talk about the Odin 3. So as you probably know, but if you don't, AYN has now posted the Odin 3 on their website. So you can pre-order it from there, which is very exciting. We got a whole new handheld here in the apparatus. Not sure if I'm using that word right, but the big thing is that who is this really for, right? We have all these retro handhelds. They do a bunch of different, they have the capacity of doing a multitude of different, things playing retro games, from your Game Boy Colors, N64, now we're getting into heavy PS2 GameCube, and now we're getting into even PC type games through via Game Hub or Game Native. So for the Odin 3, one of the biggest things that a lot of people aren't so sure if they want to pull the trigger on it is that these Odin 3 models now come with the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip. Very powerful chip. However, it is not the most compatible chip with Switch emulation and even some other, emulation when it comes to PS2 and GameCube at times as well. Now, there has been a decent amount of driver updates that have been occurring, especially with Game Hub. And for me, if you ask who is the Odin 3 for, I would say it's for someone who wants to do higher end emulation and especially PC emulation. I've been really getting into PC emulation recently. I've always been a big fan of Android and just the capability of what you can do with it. And time again, this Game Hub, Game Native, these type of apps of really pushing the envelope on the capability. And there's a lot of great guys that are doing great retro stuff, like Retro Handhelds 24. Shout out to him. Ted Retro, I believe the name of his channel. It's really showing what these things can do. And Snapdragon 8 Elite has been shown to push some pretty serious envelopes. I know Retro Handhelds 24, he was doing a test for God of War that came out, I want to say in 2016, I think, or came out many years ago. It was not the Ragnarok, but the one before it. But that being played on, I want to say it was the Lenovo, the Lenovo Y700, which is crazy stuff. So that has me really interested when it comes to getting one of these devices. So if you are into Game Hub, doing PC emulation, you kind of want to get something that's a little future proof just because the capability of the Elite Snapdragon 8 Elite is huge. I would say that's who the Odin 3 is for. And that concludes that the Odin 3 is not for everyone. That's why I think it is smart that AYN did come out with the AYN Thor, right? That has these very capable chips from a driver perspective for your retro stuff. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. I think even the light one has the Snapdragon 865, which I would just recommend getting the 8 Gen 2. But again, both of those chips are very compatible from a driver perspective, relatively powerful chips for those that are, wanting to do your 3DS stuff, wanting to do your PS2 GameCube stuff. Like that is going to get the job done. You don't really need anything more powerful than that. And some would actually argue you could get away with a less expensive device to get away with those things. So I'm going to be keeping an eye out. I was thinking about getting an Odin back because I do miss my Odin 2. I did have to return it because I was having some input issues with the L stick. The L3 was not fully inputting down. I was playing Call of Juarez and like my screen was freaking out as I was trying to run by pressing down the left analog stick, and it just was not doing it. So, but I do miss my Odin, so I may consider getting the Odin 3. Might be doing a pre-order for myself. Still waiting on the Mamies, and then I am for the Mamie RX. I'm going to be doing some videos on that, and then also I am going to be doing some videos on the Ambernic RG476H. So some exciting stuff on that. So stay tuned for future videos. Again, Test This Tech. I'll catch you guys next video. Thanks.